Hello, and welcome back to another episode of More Than Milestones. This one is honestly a little bit raw for me. So, fair warning, I may get emotional because truly this hit me last night, honestly, not out of the blue. I should have expected. But it really got me thinking about a connection that I hadn't made before. So, for context, I am definitely in a little bit of an overwhelming season. There is a lot happening with me from a personal standpoint. There's a lot happening from a medical standpoint with family members. There's just a lot happening. And I feel like my tendency is to kind of go inward and put my head down and just try to get through what I need to get through and not acknowledge how I'm feeling. And obviously that doesn't often work long term. Um, and so last night, for context, it was a very overwhelming day. It was I had a ton of stuff that I need to get done for work. I had appointments to take loved ones to, which I'm more than happy to do. I'm more than happy to be a support system where I can be. But it was on top of that, one of my kids is really sick and has been home. So it's I haven't had a work day. All of this stuff feels like it's piling up. It's just yesterday was hard, right? There was laundry that needed to get done. There was dishes in the sink. Dinner needed to be made and it was 5 o'clock and I'm I have no plan. I don't know. We have tons of after school activities right now, which I know so many of us are in this season. And again, a lot of times I can kind of just put my head down and do it, especially because I do have outlets, right? I've really tried to prioritize movement. I've really tried to prioritize writing in my gratitude journal, at least in the mornings. I try to cut out screen time. And what I find is that in these seasons of overwhelm, which this is probably the most overwhelmed I have ever felt in my life. But of course, in those seasons of overwhelm, if something's got to give, it's typically me taking care of myself and giving myself those opportunities to slow down, reflect, check in with myself, that sort of thing. So last night, it was all of it was definitely, it was coming to a culmination and I was trying to pretend that it wasn't. And I took the kids upstairs to bed and I was laying like I always do with them. They were they wanted to hold my arm. They were kind of flip-flopping around. It was an hour into me being up there and I could feel that I was I was going to lose it. I knew it was coming and I could not check in with myself. And I ended up yelling at them. I immediately felt horrible, obviously, because that doesn't feel good and it's not ever how I want to treat them. And I immediately apologized and I just lost it. I was crying. I was I am so sorry. That is not okay that mommy yelled at you. I am overwhelmed, but that's not your responsibility. And there's whatever. Talked through it with them, continued to cry and just release it. And as I was crying, it hit me like a ton of bricks that we talk so much about restraint collapse when it comes to our kiddos, which if you're not familiar with it, it's basically when a child holds it together all day at school, at daycare, wherever they are, they hold it together all day and then they get home and they absolutely crumble, right? And it can be so hard to be on the receiving end of that, especially when you're maybe even talking to their teachers or their daycare provider and you're are you seeing this kind of stuff? And they're no, they're an absolute angel. And you're geez, lucky me. But it actually is because we are their safe space and we are their space where they know they can come home and release it. So as hard as it can be, it's such a testament to the work that we've put in to create a safe, nurturing environment for them, right? And having ADHD or being neurodivergent in general, I am aware that my emotional regulation is already my baseline is already not fantastic, right? That is inherently something that I have to be aware of and try to work through. And especially when I'm overstimulated or overwhelmed, my irritability is it skyrockets. My ability to tolerate noises, to tolerate visual clutter, to tolerate all of it is significantly lower. And I'm aware of that, but it's really hard in the moment to give myself that grace and take a step back and be Casey, chill, take a deep breath. It's okay. You're safe, whatever. So as I'm sitting there crying last night and thinking about all of this, I'm like, I am literally doing right now the adult version of restraint collapse, right? Where like I am holding it together all day long. I am doing what I need to do. I am getting the groceries. I'm making the dinner. I'm making the lunches. I'm getting kids to where they need to go. Jay and I are working as a team on those things. I'm getting my work done. I'm showing up on social media, doing what I need to do, showing up at work, doing what I need to do. And then when I get home with my people and my safe space, my husband and my 7, 5, and 4-year-old, my irritability is through the roof because I'm finally in, again, like my safe place where I feel like I'm not aware of it. And well, now I am, but I'm not aware that like I'm literally like collapsing. Like I am emotionally dumping on them. My self-control is gone. I've held it together all day. And now I like simply cannot for one more second. And, I think for me, that realization in the moment where I was like, and I know this isn't going to offend anyone, but I hope it's not. And like, I don't mean it in this way, but like that moment of realization that I am showing up the way that I want to show up for basically strangers all throughout my day. But when it comes to literally the most important people in my life, I am not showing up the way that I want to. That guilt hit me like a literal ton of bricks. And I was like, you need to figure this out because unfortunately, like the season that I'm in right now, there isn't much that I can do to change the actual stressors that are overwhelming me, right? Like it is kind of right this second something that I just need to like get through each day for the next couple months because of the things that I'm navigating, right? So knowing that it is what it is right now, like those things are those things, but what can I do to give myself the opportunity to show up for my people the way that I want to and the way that I'm making sure, quote unquote, I'm showing up for everyone else. And so I feel like it was an aha moment that I really needed to have and it hurt. And I still like today, I feel so like racked with guilt because I don't ever want my kids to feel like a burden. I don't ever want to like snap at them. I don't want to treat them in a way that doesn't align with how I want them to make sure everyone in their life treats them. I don't want them to accept being treated in a way that doesn't feel good by me, by the person that they trust and love. And especially like my babies, like you wake up and like, sorry, and like they forgive you, and like, I don't ever want to take advantage of that. I don't ever want them to look back and be like, God, mom was like always stressed out. And like, I ended up having a really honest conversation with them this morning. And I was like, listen, I need you guys to do mommy a favor because it's like, I'm struggling a little bit right now, to be honest. And like, I'm a big, big fan of like letting them see the real that like I am a real person and I make mistakes and I struggle and I'm in it. I'm living life for the first time too. Like, even though I'm their mom and they look up to me and like, I'm still a person navigating all of this for the first time, and I had a really honest conversation with them this morning and I was like, listen, I need you guys to like, let's have a safe word where like you call me a silly name instead of mommy and you're like, hey, you're not being mommy, you're being whatever, and like put me in timeout, like be like, check me, and they thought that was so funny and they were like loving it. And at one point, as we were like in the hustle of this morning, I was like, guys, please, let's go. And they were like, mommy. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I needed that. And like, not to put that on them, but like, I know they feel it. And I know they recognize when I'm not showing up as the mommy that they know. And so, I guess all of this to say that like, when it comes to my kids, I feel like we have systems in place to help prevent that restraint collapse and help them transition home in an easier way. Things like giving them decompression time and a transition period where they can come home and there is no demands being placed on them. They can just play, they can chill, they can do whatever they want to do before we start placing demands on them or like before we start running out the door in different directions or whatever it might be, and really like being present and supportive for them and validating how they're feeling, like staying calm, waiting to like talk to them until they're calm, because the part of the brain that handles verbal processing is on all day for them, right? And so in those moments where like their emotions are really high, that verbal processing is already going down. And so just sitting with them has been so effective, and being like, I see you, like, I get it. You're working so hard all day to like keep those feelings at bay or in a socially appropriate way, like just giving them that space to be like, it's okay, like let it out. As a mom, I know how important it is to stay energized and hydrated, especially when juggling work, kids, and everything in between. For me, that's where Element comes in. Most hydration drinks are packed with sugar or artificial ingredients, but Element is different. It's an electrolyte drink mix that has everything you need in the perfect portions: sodium, potassium, and magnesium without any of the junk. It helps me feel clear-headed, hydrated, and ready to tackle my day. I have packets shoved everywhere, so I never have to go without, whether it's after a workout, after chasing the kids around, or just because it's delicious. It's been such a simple way to support my energy and hydration. And the best part, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any purchase, which is 2 of each of their signature flavors: raspberry salt, watermelon salt, orange salt, and citrus salt. Just check out the link in the episode notes below to get started. And if you're not sure which flavor to snag initially, trust me on these next 2 words: lemonade salt. It is a game changer. Truly, staying hydrated doesn't have to be complicated. Check out Element and see the difference it will make in your daily routine today. Because again, for me, it's like, I know the things that work, but they are, again, always the first thing to go when things get overwhelming, because it's like, I'm the queen of like making an excuse and being like, you don't have time to work out today. You have to do these 700 other things. But like the dishes can wait, like I can get in a short walk. I can get in a short workout if that's what I need to do in that moment. And so I just wanted to share, because again, I feel like we talk about restraint collapse so much, but not really in the context of adulting and parenting and like the reality that we're all navigating hard seasons at different times. And that's not going to change. But what can change is what I'm doing to support myself in those moments, so that, again, even if I'm not showing up at 100% of where I want to be, maybe I'm showing up at 80 instead of showing up at 50 and yelling and feeling irritable and then feeling that immense guilt afterwards, So here is what I'm putting into place in this season, where, again, there really isn't much that I can do to change my current situation, like the external things that I'm navigating. So here are the things that last night, after kind of having this moment of realization, I sat down and I was like, here are your non-negotiables for the day. Whether I'm picking all of them, whether I'm picking 3 of them, something on this list needs to happen, right? So 1, making sure that I am prioritizing movement every single day, even when there isn't time for a full workout, even when it feels like there's a bajillion other things that I need to be doing. I know that I am a different person when I move my body. That's number 1. Number 2, validating my own feelings, and most importantly, being open and honest with Jay, who is my person, right? He is my partner. He's my best friend. He is who I turn to in those moments, except that my tendency, even with him, even with my most trusted person, my tendency in those moments is to go inward and to shut down. Like, just put my head down, get through this, don't talk about it. But shutting him out isn't ever going to help anything, especially because when I know that when I actually talk about it, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Like, I feel so much lighter. Not to dump it on him, but to like share the hard, like share what I'm going through, So validating my own feelings and being honest with Jay, even in the times where I'm like, I just need to shut down and get through this. For 3, gratitude journaling every single morning and every single evening. And it does not take me long. I write 4 things that I am currently grateful for, 4 things in the future that I am grateful for. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say that I want to be consistent with doing these things, or doing, say, 5 workouts a week. I will write something like, I am grateful that I showed up for myself for 4 weeks straight and did this. That's what I mean by like future ones. And then giving 3 I am statements, like, I am enough, I am strong, I am capable, I am able to navigate this season in a way that feels good to me, those sorts of things. And making sure I'm doing that in the morning and at night. It takes literally 5 minutes, but like, even just stepping back and being like, okay, yes, things feel really hard right now. Things feel really overwhelming right now, but there is still so much that I am so immensely grateful for. Shifting my focus to that to start my day and to end my day has been powerful for me. And making sure that that's a priority matters. Cutting screen time out once the kids are home. For me, that looks like putting my phone down and shutting it off, not looking at a DM that's coming through, not looking at work stuff, not looking at my phone, not scrolling social media, literally like done. My phone's on the counter. That's it. My focus is them, not external things that are just adding to the noise and the overstimulation so that I can be present with them in a way that feels good. I am leaning back in hard to my noise canceling headphones, especially when I can already feel that my baseline is not great, because auditory and visual overstimulation for me are two of the biggest things that I struggle with when it comes to overwhelm and overstimulation. Like if there is clutter on the counters, if there's toys all over the place, like, so one of my goals for this coming weekend is going to be to like get rid of some stuff. Like we need to get rid of some toys. I need to get rid of some clothes. We need to get rid of just some things, you know? So like recognizing that in myself, and again, giving myself an opportunity to reduce the visual clutter, but also to just dampen the auditory overwhelm if that's what's happening. And then implementing a transitional period when we all get home, especially on those nights where we're rushing out and going in different directions, because those are the times where I feel overwhelmed and disconnected, in the sense that I'm like, it's just like, go, 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 go. We're on a schedule. We're trying to get all this stuff done. But that doesn't really leave time for like breathing. And part of that for me too is like, I tend, especially when I have limited time to get my work done and I'm overwhelmed with the amount of work that I need to do or I'm not getting done, my tendency is like literally to work until the very last second before I have to go get the kids, but not giving myself literally like 15 minutes to just chill and take a deep breath and be like, okay, work is done. We're moving on to family time now. Like, it's okay if you didn't get those things done. Nothing is urgent. Nothing is dire. Like giving myself my own transitional period before getting them. I know that works for me, and I have not been doing that. And so that is something that I am like immediately bring back in. I get the kids at 3:00 today. At 2:45, I am done. I am logged off, and I am going to just chill and breathe. And honestly, one of the biggest ones, and this one is not necessarily something that's going to immediately change things. Jay and I have planned to have a conversation about the weeknight activity commitments that we currently have with the kids. And we try to limit that anyway, because I truly believe that kids should be kids. And like, I want them to have time together. I want us to have time together as a family. Like, I don't want to be running in different directions every single night. But the reality is, 3 nights a week, we have commitments, and they are usually until pretty late in the evening. And I think it's important to honor the things that the kids are enjoying and the things are loving and that they're committed to. But I also think it's important to look at like big picture, like, okay, maybe instead of having, gymnastics on a weeknight, maybe we can sign up for the weekend class, So I think him and I just having a very honest conversation about like, is this the season where maybe we need to pull back a tiny bit on the commitments that we have, so that like we can have that slow time, we can be a little bit more intentional, we can be together and not like rushing to the next thing, So all that to say, I know, I am 110% confident that I am not the only person navigating this right now. And I know that this will resonate with someone out there. And I hope if it does, that it gives you the permission to take a step back and look at, instead of like focusing on the things that you can't change right this second, refocusing on some of the things that you can, and some of the things that you can put into place that are simple, that are not going to feel like one more thing on your plate or one more thing you're failing at if you don't get to it. And just give yourself that grace that, like, again, if it feels hard, it's probably because it is. And if it feels overwhelming, it's probably because it is, but this season is not going to last forever. And so I think giving ourselves the opportunity, one, giving ourselves grace, but two, giving ourselves the opportunity to recognize that and like feel the hard, but also have outlets that are going to let us show up in a way that feels as good as possible when you're in these harder seasons. It's so important. So I hope this is helpful. I am going to start searching for an expert to come on and talk more about restraint collapse in children in general, because I feel like that's a really important topic, and not everybody is aware that, like, even though it's hard, it is a good thing from the kid sense. For me, I don't feel good about my family being the safe space that's getting the brunt of my restraint collapse. Like that's two different things for me in my mind. But I think it's important to talk about, because we're all human and we're all navigating life and these situations for the very first time too, even when it feels like we should know what we're doing or we should be able to handle this or whatever it might be. So yeah, I hope you feel seen if you're in it too. Thanks for letting me get this out. And yeah, I'll see you next time on More Than Milestones.